Do you have the Kenergy it takes to wade through a sea of 304s and get real crypto gains? Are you ready to enter the deepest, darkest sanctum of the polycule to find out real crypto alpha? Well, if you are, you're in the right place because this is Around the Blockchain. Casper hit 4 cents. Oh my gosh. Hey, it's Around the Blockchain. Hi, I'm your host. It's me, the Nick Tater. You can't get away from me. I'm on the morning show. I'm on Blockchain Basement. I'm on Around the Blockchain. I'm in your Twitters. I'm everywhere. Okay. I'm drinking an energy drink. This is probably a bad decision. C4. We've got good guests today. Thank God. We've got great guests. Probably the best guests we've ever had on a August 1st. In the green corner, Tim Warren with 1 point already. Tim Warren.
Yes.
It's been a long time since I've seen you. How are you, man?
It's been a long time for sure. And that literally means 5 minutes. But the way today's going, that's been a long amount of time. So
feels like a year.
Very glad to be on tonight, though. You guys see my new decorations? It's weird. This camera makes that look like a super narrow shelf. This is a wide shelf. This is TJ's shelf that he gave to me. So
it's the width of your shoulders, Tim.
Yep.
Yeah,
TJ will give you the shelf off of his back.
Yes, he will.
Yes. And speaking of having your back covered, right now his back is currently covered by a dapper-looking vest, Crypto Lifer.
Oh my God. I'm on the show.
You're covered, bro. You're on the show.
On Thursday. It's Tuesday. Shout out to everyone here. Thank you for having me. I love when you're here, Nick. You're the man. Shout out to everyone else.
Lifer. Appreciate you, Lifer. And down in the red corner, repping the Bloods, Firoz Khan from across the pond, the UK Bloods. How's it going, buddy?
Great to be here, Nick. Great to be here, man. Thanks for having me on.
Firoz, educate me. What part of the UK? You don't have to dox yourself. What part of the UK are you from?
I'm from Greater London.
Greater London. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Which is the west.
That makes sense.
West of
the
London.
west. That's the best side. Okay. All right, cool.
Right.
And then last but not least, we've got all of the ammunition and the guns covered with Crypto Keeper. Nick, how are you doing?
I'm living the dream, man. Glad to be here on a Tuesday. Excited to dive into some fun topics and have some fun with the other guests. So smash that like if you haven't already, people. Do your thing.
Absolutely. You got to smash that like button. Drop in the chat if you know what a 304 is. Tell us what that is in the chat. But look at Casper real quick. We're going to get into the questions here. Another huge pump for Casper. Just broke 4, just tickled the gooch of 4 cents, if I'm allowed to say that. And Casper has just had a meteoric rise. This is the 1 month chart. This is the 1 year chart. Look at the all-time chart. I mean, we're talking about like a 300x. This is looking juicy. Lifer, can you just kind of summarize, like, is this it for Casper? When you see projects like this, moon like this in the bear market, are they done in the bull, or is this just setting up even more stratospheric gains for the bull run?
It's so weird you say that. Every cycle, I pick a coin or two that I get like extra obsessed about. It was Cake and Phantom last cycle. This cycle, I think it was around like a $80 million market cap. Someone came on my live stream and they were like, Casper. And I looked it up. I saw that it stuck with proof of work. I'm so old school. I love that. I have a lot of espresso, so I'm kind of bugging. but I saw it was proof of work, which I was really excited about. And I also saw that it had a great team. You know, it had some of the same principles of Bitcoin. And, you know, it got me really, really excited. So I started DCAing into this. And honestly, I'll show the chart quickly. I don't want to be on it too long, just because I don't. But what it did is I started getting in here, and it pumped up huge. And what Casper did was awesome. I used the 3-day chart just to kind of show everyone what I did. You could use this. This is a really good way. If you like a coin, but you know it pumped up huge and you feel like you have to take some profit. And again, it doesn't always work out perfectly. This one did. I just pulled the fib from here to here. And Casper came down to that 786 retracement. And if you zoom in, you can't see it here. You zoom into like the daily, that was like an Adam and Eve double bottom. You have like a triangle, and then you have a semicircle. And that was like, to me, a great place to enter back in. And I sold all my bags at 38. The 4 hour said it was going to continue, but I stayed on the 3-day chart. and it was very overbought on the Stokes up here. So I waited for them to reset. And so I believe Casper is about to go to all-time highs. When something goes into what's called price discovery, it can rip. I see this flying. I wouldn't be surprised if it rips up to this measured move somewhere at 5, 7, and then it's going to pull back like it did the last 2 times. At that point, I would pull the fib again. It'll probably retrace somewhere down to that 3, 7, maybe like mid 3 area. And I think it's going to continue. This thing has so much steam. Too many people like it. It's in its own little bull run. So I'm excited about this coin. Sorry. That's all. Yeah.
That's really interesting. Casper, I'm kicking myself because I used to, I still do mine quite a bit, but I was considering mining Casper even before the ASIC miners came online with it. And this was back in like late 2021. I know guys that have been mining Casper for almost 2 years now. Back when you were able to mine like hundreds of Casper per day. Now I think it's like 3 or 4 Casper a day. So that's one card. One card would mine you a couple hundred Casper a day. Now it takes a decent sized farm to mine 2 or 3. So
there's a new miner coming out. Just tell people not to buy it, because if they buy that miner, it's going to get wrecked by the ASIC miners. You won't be able to use it. And I still see some YouTubers pushing it. So I just want people not to grab those miners. You're going to get rocked.
Yeah.
Wait.
If you're lucky enough to actually buy one of the Casper ASIC miners, then that's a different story. But if someone's trying to sell you some kind of like GPU miner or something like that, you need to tread carefully when it comes to Casper mining. But speaking of treading carefully, we're going to get into the main stories of the day. In a recent interview with Financial Times, Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong revealed that the SEC asked Coinbase to delist every cryptocurrency except Bitcoin before suing the exchange. Armstrong, do we got a picture of Brian Armstrong? Armstrong told, actually, I think we have an updated picture of Brian Armstrong real quick. Can you find that one? Yeah. Okay. Armstrong told the Financial Times the SEC recommendation left us no choice but to head to court. There's the updated picture. Brian Armstrong. That's a terrible joke. I just want to apologize for that. That was terrible. That was Deezy. Deezy made me do that. Per an SEC spokesperson, the SEC staff does not ask companies to delist crypto assets, and in course of an investigation, the staff may share its views as to what conduct may raise questions to the Commission under the securities laws. SEC chair and quasi-proto-human Kerry Gensler, the 4 SEC commissioners, the SEC staff have had different opinions on matters that don't necessarily reflect the institution's position unless expressed as so. Question number 1. 2, Timmy Dubs. What would you do if you were the CEO? Would you delist? Would you play ball? Or would you just like pack it in?
Honestly, I probably would play it exactly the way Brian played it. He didn't play ball. He asked why. And that's the thing that's really funny is he gets told, hey, delist everything except for Bitcoin. To which he asked a good question. Why? And they literally said, we don't have to tell you, just do it. And to me, is that
sounds like my wife?
Fullness? Yeah. For real.
Why do I have to do this?
Exactly.
I don't know. It's good that he's not treating Gary like a dad. Because again, as a dad, I'm a new dad. So, at some point my kid can't speak yet, but at some point I'm sure he's going to ask why a lot. And I'm eventually going to just break and say, because I said so. Well, guess what, Gary? You're not dad. We don't have to do things just because you say so. So I would have played it just like Brian. And it just is further confirmation. Again, I think we all already know it. We all have perceived it. But Gary and the SEC have no idea what they're doing. They have no evidence for anything. They just throw out these crazy accusations, hope something sticks. We had the insider come out and literally say they don't even plan on winning the majority of their lawsuits. They actually see it as a belt, a badge of honor to lose a lawsuit because that means they're doing enough lawsuits, which makes me go on to say, I know this isn't the topic for tonight, but it's the hot story around crypto right now. What's going to happen to Richard Hart and Hex? And no matter what you think about Richard and about Hex, you don't have to buy his coin, but when you're looking at this, if anyone actually believes that the SEC has real evidence, I'm sitting here saying, are we not seeing a track record of the SEC having zero evidence and just throwing out accusations and trying to start lawsuits? It makes me believe until the way it really should be, he's innocent until proven guilty. This time, he's innocent until I see a shred of evidence that he's actually doing anything that they're accusing him of doing. For that reason, though, yeah, I think Brian's playing it perfect. It doesn't seem like he's bowing the knee. He's not calling Gary dad, and neither should you.
Yeah, I wish we were still in a country that was operating on innocent until proven guilty. If anyone has ever had any interaction with the judicial system in any capacity, you know that it is quite the opposite. Firoz, if Coinbase would have complied with the SEC request, would it have been the end for crypto in the United States?
No, In the United States, I'm sure you might have had a bit. You might have had a bit of an impact in the US, but again, there are other exchanges that you can still use. I mean, one of the things that I always say and I hear is, because a lot of it is stemming out of the US, but the world is bigger than just the US, right? I mean, we've got all the other international organizations. Well, I'm afraid looking from across the pond, but no, I mean, that's for me. This is the way I kind of see. A lot of it is. And we do see in the news, SEC's going after this, SEC's going after that, just like Tim has been saying. And for me, it's the same thing. Just because Coinbase is currently under the firing line from the SEC, and I personally don't think that it's going to go anywhere. In all honesty, I mean, we saw the SEC go after XRP. Yep, it was a lengthy battle, but we saw what the outcome was from that as well. Just shouting and asking people to do stuff because you can isn't really the way that you should. But no, I don't think it's the end for. I don't think it's the end for alts for Coinbase at all going down.
So for us, what's the British equivalent to the SEC that we should get familiar with over here in the US?
So we've got the FCA, which is the Financial Conduct Authority. So I would take the FCA as our one. But again, I don't think many people pay much attention to the FCA either. They spend a lot of money advertising, saying crypto is a scam, but they don't really stop anybody from doing anything with it.
Are they doing this level of saber rattling that the SEC is doing?
No, not at all. But then again, if you kind of look at it from the European perspective, I mean, we do have the new sort of micro rules that are in place as well, which for us, certainly from Europe perspective, we do get a bit of regulation. We do get a bit of clarity in terms of what it is and what you need to be doing if you want to operate as a digital currency. So I think we have a bit more regulation than you guys at the end of the day.
Okay. So do you think, Lifer, do you think there's going to be a settlement here coming up, or is this going to go all the way with the SEC and Coinbase?
It's really hard to tell, honestly. The SEC seems to have their guard up pretty heavily. Coinbase has the vote of the people, and it has, you got John Deaton, you got a lot of other surrounding people who have really good legal advice and have, like their opinions aren't just based on just random thoughts. Like, there are people that have been through these type of litigations before and can see the holes in the SEC's case. I believe over time, it's gonna show, like Tim said. I love what Tim's great to listen to, man. Shout out to Tim. Give Tim +1. I love what he had to say. No, seriously, because I like his delivery. I like what he was talking about. Like, they're just trying to go make cases. You know what I mean? If they lose a case, it's like it shows that they've been going after as many people as possible. It's like losing soldiers in battle. Like, when you storm, you're gonna lose some people on the way. So they're just gonna blanket everything they can. Everyone can see as they continue to go, and they have really no basis for the XRP case, that they're going to really slowly begin to lose their footing. And over time, I think you're going to get enough politicians to be sick of it, because no one wants to look stupid, man, at the end of the day. Even the fake politicians that BS, like, they're going to want to distance themselves from the SEC. And then the honest people are going to want to show what's happening. So I think over time, it will be dismantled. I pray we get that, Tom Emmer, he was saying we get that, like, a voting group, like a board. So we don't have just this one person that we don't vote in. We really need to change the way it's going. The frustration is felt by everybody. But at the same time, I have a good rich friend, and I always tell him about this stuff. And he always says, hey, man, the government can keep going. They'll extend the case, tax dollars. He's like, don't be surprised if they just keep it going. So I think it takes a year and a half. And I believe it probably will end up in some type of settlement, even if it is in Coinbase's favor,
Yeah, a friend of mine said the gears of the government grind very slow, but extremely fine. So once you're caught, you're ground up, unless you put up an incredible fight. Speaking of fights that I would not want to get into, Crypto Keeper. Sorry, these things just come to me. When you're a genius, it just kind of comes to you.
That was a great transition. I love it.
It's swole. Dude is swole.
So do you see this as, Coinbase with all of their altcoins that are available, and now they have Base, which there are altcoins launching on Base, which we'll get into that in a little bit. Is this like a blood in the streets, continued pressure? Will this facilitate more buying opportunities for those of us who are in crypto when the normies react to hearing all this Coinbase news? And do you see any kind of regulatory clarity happening this year at all?
All right, so let me answer the second question first. The regulatory clarity and lack thereof is purposeful. You've heard other people on the panel talk about it. We talk about it on Debate Crypto a lot. The whole game is to keep you guessing. It's to keep to keep us, the average person, not knowing what's going on, because what does that do? It makes you uncertain of your financial decisions, and they are threatened by what's happening in crypto. They do realize that a lot of people are looking and saying, hey, the US dollar is failing. I do have an opportunity in an asset like Bitcoin, for example, and they're migrating over. So if they just give us clarity, even if it's kind of tough on the side of buying and selling crypto, at least we have a clear-cut line and we know what we can and can't do. But if they make it very ambiguous and don't give us any information at all, it's like wondering if your mom and dad knew that you snuck out last night. You've got a feeling that they do, right? Back in high school, and you've got a feeling that they do, but they don't truly let you know. So should I try it again tonight, or am I going to get caught? And I think it just leaves you up in the air, right? And so the second question is basically, is this an alt buying opportunity? I think it kind of goes along with the first thing that I was answering. Because we have no idea, I have no freaking clue, right? I think that I will say that my dad he's an attorney, but he used to be a securities attorney. And we had a lengthy discussion about all these crypto assets. And he said, if we're going to use the old school, what's the rule? 1941. Somebody help me. Come on. What's the four questions?
Measure twice, cut once.
Howey test, right?
The Howey test. There you go. The Howey test. Thank you. I knew somebody on here was going to give you
paying attention, man.
If we're going to use the antiquated Howey test, a lot of these assets are securities, right? After talking through and explaining, but the reality is it's not 1941. We didn't even have digital assets back in that age. So continue to be the big bully on the playground, but bullies get their ass knocked out too. Like that, and ultimately, I think XRP has done a good job of showing that. And so, yeah, they'll continue to push their weight around. Could be an opportunity for you if you've got some exposure or some risk tolerance, right? But again, the whole point is just to keep you guessing so that you can't make those good sound crypto decisions. You've just got to be risky.
Yeah,
and that's what they want.
Speaking of risk, before we move on, Keeper, high weight, low reps, or high reps, low weight, or low weight, high reps?
You know what? I actually have been doing something a little different recently. I've been doing 7 as heavy as I can. That's recently what I've been doing. I have been told that hypertrophy happens really well at that level. So that's what I've been doing recently. Plus, I got a bum shoulder and stuff, so I don't like to go crazy heavy.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I was just doing bent over rows this morning because that's like the only time I can work out. Anyways, I was
doing bent over rows today too. Yeah,
I know. Really helps your shoulder cuff. Anyways, moving on. I'm sure Tim, Tim and Keeper could probably have a whole show about this, and then Firoz can moderate. Firoz can interpret for the normies who don't give a crap about lifting, which I don't really either. Alameda linked to a scam. Shocker. The hype around the newly launched Bald token pushed its prices 4 million % from issuance and attracted over $85 million from traders at its peak. Though the hype was short-lived, kind of like SBF sexual prowess. The token plunged 90% when the developer pulled $20 million in liquidity. Crypto sleuths quickly linked Bald rug pull to the FTX founder, FTX, but did they? Cinnamon Chain Adventures partner Adam Cochran tweeted the Bald dev is like 90% SBF or Alameda person at this point, noting that they have the same wallet address, which was also involved in the Sushi Swap community years ago. Newsflash, you can use, more than one person can use the same address. Reportedly, SBF was one of the few early members to post snapshot to Sushi governance votes. Anyways, Bald token SBF is supposedly, according to my GF, Tiffany Fong, SBF is supposedly using a flip phone instead of a smartphone along other bail conditions, including only being able to access the internet with a Game Boy Color Advance. Interesting selection by the judge. I want to go around the blockchain real quick on a scale of 1 to 10. That's a terrible scale. A percentage, 0% to a 100% certainty. What is the likelihood that the Bald token scam was done by Sam Bankman-Fried? Crypto Keeper, you're first.
1% unless Sam Bankman-Fried has the largest balls on planet Earth.
Yeah. Lifer?
I think there's like a 25-30%. He was out of his mind already. He did some ridiculous things. I mean,
Okay.
or
Firoz?
he may not have done it, but someone he knew, like he was involved.
Firoz, what do you think?
Yeah, and I'm going with Sam on this one as well. I'm thinking somewhere around the 30%. It might not have been him directly, but he's made a fair few friends along the way, whether they like him or hate him. But there's opportunities.
Yep. Tim, what do you think?
Listen, I'm going 5%, but I agree. I think someone in his camp, but I'm going 5% that he specifically did it. I'll go 30%. No, I'll go 90%. Someone in his camp did it.
He knows.
And
sure.
yeah, so yeah.
My money is on Nishan Singh. Let me pull up this tweet real quick. What's that? Yeah.
You make one statement. Everyone he knows is on the up and up.
Yeah.
What?
I just like doing stuff like that. I say like
Oh
an
my
open,
God.
you know what I mean? You say such a clear, everyone he knows is on the up and up, right?
Yeah. They're all, none of them are douchebags.
Let's sink in for a minute and then,
So Hype ETH said, to summarize, thousands of ETH between FTX and Bald. Bald Deployer was first voter on all sushi proposals. Bald Deployer tweets same sentence structure as SBF. Bald Deployer was biggest Didix farmer. Bald Deployer Didix posts sound like SBF. What else? Bald Deployer Didix posts around sound like SBF. On-chain activity lines up with court dates and bail. That's very interesting. We know SBF was doing stuff through VPN. Interestingly enough, what he was doing through VPN is he bought NFL Sunday Ticket through VPN because he wanted to watch. He wanted to watch. I don't know. The Arizona Cardinals be completely irrelevant.
We need to tell him to start tuning into Fantasy Blitz if he wants to get.
I wasn't going to do it, Tim, but thank you for doing that. Tell you what, we're going to go ahead. We're going to pull this up right now. Live research. This is my new channel. This is my new channel. Thank you. What a great segue. What a guy. Fantasy Blitz. If you like American football and you do the fantasy footballs, look at this channel. Look at this guy. Look at this man. Okay. Now I have a team of people who are way smarter than me that help me do research. This is Fantasy Blitz. No BS, just Blitz. We tell you what you need to know for your fantasy football team.
Hot.
Brand new channel. Yeah. Come on, baby. We're going live every Thursday. Zoom in. Being told to zoom in. We go live every Thursday night. Me and Adam, and we're going to break down what's happening in fantasy football. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's go back to the questions. Thank you for that send up, Tim. Appreciate you, my guy. I'll send this to you right now. Tim, being that Base is still in testnet phase, do you think they should have done more to help prevent the exploiter from being able to remove the funds?
Well, I was going to start off by saying, and I'll answer that question saying it, but I was going to start by saying there's not a high likelihood, but what if it's called Bald Token, right? And potentially we know there's a lot of politicians in SBF's camp. What if it's Gary Gensler and Brad Sherman that started Bald Coin? Can we start that rumor around? You heard it here first on ATB. Brad Sherman and Gary Gensler, they're testing out how easy it is to scam. I mean, Brad's all about floating and coins just being created out of thin air and how America can do it because they're America. Maybe he tested to see if he could be a crypto bro. Just saying. Sorry, I will repeat the question one more time, though. I wanted to say that. And then
Base is still in testnet. It's a layer 3 on Optimism. They call it a layer 2, but it's not. If it's built on a layer 2, it's a layer 3. Guys, come on.
Right.
Do you think they should have done more to prevent the exploiter from being able to remove the funds? Since they're centralized anyway.
Wow. You're saying on Bald Token?
Yeah. Like they saw it happening. Should they just reverse the contract?
Oh man. Well, when you say they, you're talking about Coinbase Base.
Yeah, they run it.
Yeah, I think. Well, there's two sides of this. So, of course, when we look at Base and when we look at Bald Token and we know what we know that someone very corrupt is behind it. More than likely, Sam Bankman-Fried's camp. We know that there's a lot of corruption there. The easy answer would be say yes. Let's have Base get more controlling here. Let's have them shut this down early. But then you start to get into a world here, Nick, where what do we determine is the case where Base is going to step in and take control and shut things down? At what point do we declare that this is a corrupt coin? And in another case, is it just the creator doing what they have the right to do? This is why, listen, crypto is still a scary place. For anyone who wants to completely do a 180 of what government and political figures are saying when they attack crypto, it's not true. Crypto is still very scary. It's a wild west. A lot of things can happen. We see figures who can take advantage of other retail investors and make money. That doesn't mean everyone does it, but there is people that do it. But the question, just like anything else, is where does the slippery slope end? When you start to make these movements and you start to allow companies and governments to get involved for the sake of consumer protection, a lot of times they overstep their boundaries, and before you know it, the centralization is out of control and it starts to abuse good faith players, not just taking out the bad ones. Unfortunately, I'm kind of sitting in a place where I think I'm a bigger fan of let the crooks be here, but just continue to educate yourself. Don't go crazy on crypto. I mean, who was investing in Bald coin? First of all, if you see a coin up 4,000% or 4,000,000% or whatever it was, that is a coin that with a very 10 seconds of education, you should know, do not invest in that coin. And yet people continue to do so. I'm more for educating retail investors more so than stepping in, overstepping their boundaries, trying to protect them and taking away all their freedoms. And I know that's a dangerous place to be. It's just kind of where I've had to settle based off all the chaos.
So Firoz, is this the end of short-term meme coin rallies as we have seen so far this year? And do you think Bald token is going to have some kind of weird dead cat bounce?
Is it the end of the meme coin rally? Well, it's never the end of a meme coin rally, so to speak. Sure. I mean, the thing is, and Base launched, right? And the first thing that we always tend to see pump straight away are meme tokens, and naturally, Base and Brian Armstrong being bald, that was a great narrative. There was a great virality behind it, which is obviously one of the reasons why we're kind of seeing a pump. Not to mention that clearly there are some. I'm going to say there's smart individuals behind the space to rally a coin that high up, right? I mean, you've got connections in order to make that happen. You've got capital to make that happen. Now, we see this time and time again. There are going to be, and I would say that now with the meme coins launching on Base that we see now, they're a lot short-lived. I'll be honest there. I mean, you kind of see them pump and dump pretty much within the first 3 to 4 hours, whereas before you at least got a day or two out of it to kind of ride that wave before you jumped off. So certainly on Base, I think we're just going to see a lot more of that sort of pump and dump action more than anything else. And in fact, one of the interesting things, because I've been watching the sort of meme coins on Base, myself, and one of the things that I am noticing is that a lot of the pump and dumps that we're seeing are people literally just happy to sort of go in and make like $50 and literally dump all the tokens they have. I mean, we're kind of seeing a lot of that mentality happening. So I think that has pretty much run its course. I think one of the other things I will say is, people are now going to be looking at whatever the next new blockchain is that's coming out. So, there's Linear around the corner, I think that's supposed to be coming out. So I suspect, we'll see a lot of the people migrate over. And that's what we see a lot within crypto, though. When you start seeing all of these sort of L3s and L2s launching, first thing that comes out is always meme coins because they're the easiest things to kind of jump onto. And that's the next step that we're going to see. So that was the first part. What was the other question, Nick? Because I think I've lost my train of thought.
Dead cat bounce for Bald?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
We see that all the time with quite a lot of the large meme coins that sort of rally up. There's always a dead cat bounce coming in.
Got it. Lifer, go ahead and get some of those charts ready for Bald token. I do want to ask Keeper. So, is this kind of Pete in the Cheerios of Base? Is it over for Base? Is it shown that it can't be trusted right out of the gate, or is this just a growing pain that with the right messaging they can overcome? What would that messaging that they would need to overcome this?
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think so at all. We've seen scams, we've seen pump and dumps, we've seen everything in crypto. And I mean, shoot, you see it in the real estate market. You see it anything where people are able to basically take advantage of others to get money and get power, they're going to do it. And so just because this thing pumps out of comes out of the gate absolutely ripping, and then whoever is behind it dumps it back, rug pulls on everybody that was into it. That's kind of part of the game that people need to know that they're playing. The reality is, when I play around with meme coins, I am prepared to lose anything that I put in. And why is the reason for that? Because there's no true fundamental underlying problem that's being solved here. The only problem it's solving is scratching my itch the itch that needs scratched for gambling. This is the crypto casino. People are always going to want to jump in, roll dice, play games, and that's what they're doing. If you go into the casino with all of your freaking money and you lay it down on, red or black and you don't hit, who do you have to point the finger at? yourself. And so that's why I like what Tim said, where it needs to be more and more education. And I think they could go in that direction and over educate people and just let people know, listen, this is there's some very legitimate projects. There's going to be not legitimate projects. There's good people, there's bad actors. And as long as you understand some key points and key metrics in the crypto space and understand what your risk tolerance looks like, then boom, you can make the next step forward. And so, no, it's not going to crush it whatsoever. This will continue to happen. It's not the first time. It won't be the last time. So people just need to get hip to the fact that they're in the casino if that's what if they're playing the meme coin game.
Yeah. Welcome to the forest. You're in here with the wolves. Lifer, like, just give us the play-by-play of what happened with this chart on Bald Token, just so like our viewers at home can see this is what a meme token looks like on a chart. And then I also do have a question for you once you kind of give us play-by-play of that.
Well, I love what Keeper was saying. You know, the simple fact that you can get rug pulled and lose thousands of % in a night is the simple fact that people will never leave cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
You know, like the elasticity of the movement down is the same, is the hype that people will lose 1,000 times if they think they could win once. You know what I mean? Like, oh, but he turned $500 into 1.5 mil on Bald Token. Like, and that'll just keep them coming back for more. Like, I wonder who writes those stories. You know what I mean? The people that rug pull themselves just to keep people kind of feeling, oh, I could have been that one person, you know? So I like what crypto's, it's like, it's an advertisement, right? So yeah, it's never going away. That's part of the human condition. Like, that's why we were out looking for gold. And then, the 49ers, you know, so that's never going to leave. It's just the time period will change. The technology will change. But, you know, God made us curious tinkerers, man. So it came out. Whoever was smart enough to get in at $40,000 liquidity was right around here. Nice pump. And then it kind of acted like it was actually going to do something cool. Like, that's a bullish consolidation. You know what I mean? And if you were to take this impulse here, you pull it back up, you'd see you came to a beautiful 618. That's a golden pocket in the 706 fib that I had. To me, I'm like, oh, and honestly, what I like about meme coins is you can still trade them traditionally. Like, look, it has no fundamentals at all. Anything human beings put energy to and gets onto a chart will have some type of charting capabilities. I don't care if the coin itself doesn't have any real backing behind it. So like, look, you could have played this impulse, got in right there, swung it. Once you got to the resistance, a smart trader may have taken profit and raised their stop loss. And then once it got up, they faked the pump, made everyone think it was going to move up. People probably grab this and you take your measured move because this is all you have to go on. And I've got kids looking at me through the window. Stop banging on the screen, kids. So it's crazy today.
They're trying to escape. They're trying to escape.
I'm like a news station, and the neighborhood kids are like staring in the window at me. So it came up. It was supposed, and then they rug pulled it. I mean, like there, right? It got rug pulled around what, 9? I remember 9 cents, and then it's funny. People had the guts to get back in. And some people made like 100% gains back from the bottom. Like, it's just insane. Crypto. Like, after the rug pull, people were still willing to get in and try their hand at it. So, but this is a rug pull, everyone. You know what I mean? Out for 2 days, 3 days, not even. Comes up, goes all the way up, and then it's gone. You know, someone grabs all the.
Do you see Base and Coinbase stepping in and limiting meme tokens in general from being out on their platform?
I think it's a funny look because they were always like, we're doing all the right things. And I know it's like not connected, it's a DeFi, like it's a layer 2 that can, it's its own thing, but you're going to go back after the SEC. You're going to sue the SEC. You're going to take all these aggressive stands. And then days later, you're going to make like, this is going to come out. You know what I mean? And I feel like it just gives, even if it's not fully connected, it gives Gary a platform to speak on. It gives him another way to attack crypto.
Yeah.
I wish they had been like not as connected to it. You know what I mean?
The timing
I still don't
is terrible.
know exactly. Yeah, it's not, it's not good publicity at all for crypto in general. And, Elizabeth Warren just loves to gnaw on these bones, right? So it's sad.
Whoa.
But she's gonna, they're gonna use everything they can to try to turn our industry into some type of grimy, money laundering industry, which we all know the American dollar is far easier to launder money than a trackable blockchain. But I guess you can't explain that to
as far as grimy money laundering, you mean Wall Street. Speaking of things that are misunderstood and labeled incorrectly, the Barbie movie. Kens are now a pejorative for men who are interested in manly things. And one of those manly things apparently is Bitcoin. We're going to look at this clip from Margot Robbie. The absolutely, hang on, come back to me, Owen. I got to make a statement right now. I worked on Suicide Squad for a week and a half when she was playing Harley Quinn, and I was a production assistant, and I would basically hold an umbrella and make sure that everyone knew where Margot Robbie was at all times, and usher her to set, back and forth, blah blah blah. Margot Robbie is a 10, first of all, and she is a fantastic person. So shout out to Margot Robbie. You're a beautiful person inside and out. You made everyone's day that much better, and you have an incredible work ethic. She was jumping around doing Harley Quinn stuff, stabbing the little monster thing or the giant monster thing for hours and hours and hours. So shout out to Margot Robbie. But here she is on a pink couch wearing a pink dress, being beautiful and talking about being a Ken.
Two of our wonderful producers, one of whom is also my husband, when David and Tom would like start talking about like Bitcoin or something, like Greta and I'd be like, they're being such Kens. They'd talk about golf, we're like, stop being Kens. So it's hard to define what makes a Ken, but there can also be big Ken energy, and that's a good thing.
Or as Ryan says, Kenergy.
Kenergy. This show has Kenergy, damn it. And it won't ever not have Kenergy. But Barbie and Mattel can't seem to agree on crypto these days. Barbie star Margot Robbie labeled Bitcoin total Ken conversation topic. While just 2 months earlier, Mattel released a Barbie and Boss Beauty's collab NFT. Robbie said while filming, several male producers, as well as her husband, repeatedly talked about crypto. I mean, yeah, because crypto's awesome. Mattel's NFTs don't end with Barbie. Hot Wheels is the next NFT getting the treatment. Mattel has also confirmed it has 45 films in development based on Mattel toys, and all of those are probably going to get an NFT as well. I think Mattel is actually I think their NFTs are on Flow, but fact check me on that. It may be Vivi. So look, is Bitcoin a Ken topic? Would you say is Bitcoin an agent of the patriarchy? Let's go around the blockchain. Is it part of the patriarchy? What the heck is up with Bitcoin? Let's start with Lifer. Patriarchy or no?
I mean, no, it's for everybody, man.
That's
for
right.
Everybody. For everybody.
That's right. Lifer. I'm sorry, not Lifer. Keeper.
I was like, I'll do it again. I was like, it's for everybody.
I've got a hot take on this, but I'll wait for you to go all the way around. But
okay.
You know what? They want you to be paying attention to and looking at this as that.
Firoz, what do you think?
Yeah, no, definitely. It's for everybody. It's for everybody. I don't see it as a patriarch.
Tim, as a patriarch, do you think Bitcoin is for the patriarchy?
Listen, I'm interested to hear what Keeper says, because him and I might have similar views. I think, again, they want you to not to view that way, but Bitcoin should be for everybody. And I'll elaborate further when we get deeper into this.
Okay, Keeper. Is this all Andrew Tate's fault?
Listen,
give us your take.
So here's the thing. We live in a world in 2023. I'll try to keep us out of trouble here. We live in a world we aren't able to even actively tell me. Most people aren't even actively able to tell me with any sort of confidence, or at least they say they don't, what a man or a woman is. So why are we ultimately throwing onto taking a name out of a movie, throwing it on men, and ultimately then attaching it to something like Bitcoin, which is this new up-and-coming political topic? I'll tell you why. I believe that this is just nothing more than one more of the distractions. Because, look, if we start talking about the fact that the dollar is failing, if we start talking about the Fed has absolutely collapsed and ruined our dollar, now we're talking about something real that can hurt the pockets of these politicians. But if they have us focused on this new movie, which, by the way, she is a bombshell. You are correct about that. She's beautiful. If they had you talking about just a Ken and Barbie movie, and then attaching it in this cute little cutesy way to Bitcoin, that doesn't really hurt anybody, right? It's just something to keep people talking. And so I'm over all of this social injustice, always pointing out whether it's man, women, gay, straight, whatever. Like, live your freaking life, keep the government out of my life, and allow us to be free like this country is supposed to be. That's it. I love that. Faraz, would Barbie Land use a CBDC? And if so, what would it be called?
Oh God. I mean, what a question to ask on a Tuesday night in the UK. Would they use it? Yeah, sure. Why would they not? It seems to be mainstream, so why would they not use it? And what would it be called? My goodness. I don't know, Barbie BDs. I don't know, maybe something along those lines. I mean,
Okay, so on a more serious note, do you see the synthesis of NFTs and movie properties continuing forward? Like Mattel's had good response with this NFT so far. Do you think this is going to be a continuing thing, or is this going to be like a flash in the pan? We tried it, it didn't work.
No, I think as we go further and further over the years, and we're seeing already, right? We had the Stanley NFTs come out recently, with sort of portraying various different characters. So I think this is the same thing. I think successful movies, successful blockbusters will obviously still look to see how they can gain additional revenue streams of revenue, and NFTs is another one. I mean, it's in a way, if you think about it, it's no different from Barbie dolls being sold. I mean, you're owning something at that point. So again, there's a way to capitalize on it, and I think we're going to see much more further growth of this. I mean, why wouldn't you? If I was a business and there was an opportunity for me to create NFTs, and in all honesty, I mean, if I think about it, the production cost for an NFT, well, it's a hell of a lot cheaper than actually going out and producing physical models, as in plastic models at the end of the day. So, and you get to spread it around the world. It's easy access globally. You don't have to tie it down to one particular market or one particular locale. It's open, just like crypto is in general. So why wouldn't you? I mean, I certainly would if that was an opportunity for me to capitalize on if I'd made a movie.
Yeah. Tim, so there's some FUD here with Bitcoin being for Kens and Kens being part of the patriarchy. Do you think that this is going to be used as kind of a narrative tool, not just for the climate argument against Bitcoin, but is it like, oh, Bitcoin's run by men, therefore bad?
I was going to say, I really hope that after what I say, this channel does not get canceled. But at the end of the day, truth has to be said. And when we're looking at breaking this down, I really don't want to offend Margot. Listen, yes, she's a beautiful person. I know, Nick, you might have got to meet her, and she's beautiful inside and outside. Let's talk about this, though. Let's just say truth, and then let's keep going. There are two different types of personalities, and one is masculine and one is feminine. And guess what? I've seen women, I've seen females who act very masculine. They have no problem taking full control. That's good. And I've seen men who maybe are a little bit more feminine. They're a little bit more soft-spoken and more nurturing. Guess what? We need in this world masculine and feminine people. More often not, males are masculine. More often not, females are feminine. My whole point is setting this up. This is the nature. And this is the messaging, Nick, that they want you to believe about Bitcoin. Why is that? Ultimately, guys, what is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is power. Bitcoin is true value. Governments and centralized authorities want to hold all of that power, want to hold all of that value. They want you to be poor and happy. How do you do that? You go after culture. You attack culture. And we've been sitting here, again, whether you are a female or a male, there are masculine and feminine people. Masculinity has been attacked for a very long time now. Why? Because being masculine makes you want to challenge and to argue and to have control. And that is a good thing. You need agreeers and you need arguers. That's how the world moves forward. But if we can take the ultimate form of future power and value and make it a toxic thing to be masculine about it, make it a toxic thing to want to have that power, that leaves more room for governments and centralized authorities to take it up. And if that's what they're going after people sitting on the fence. They're attacking masculinity, and then they're attaching liking Bitcoin and liking crypto to that. First of all, is that not misogynistic itself, that crypto and Bitcoin is for the boys, whereas other things are for the girls? But my whole point here is, literally, this is an attack on culture and is an attack to steal power by going after the masculine thing. I really hope people wake up. I have no plans to see Barbie. What I have heard about it might be one of the most woke movies ever made in the history of movies. It's probably just the beginning of what's going to happen there. And it's one of those things that's like, I know this is a funny topic, and that just seeing that headline, oh, Bitcoin's for Kens, it's funny. But when you really dig into it, you start to get a little scared, because what I'm saying, it's absolutely true. That's why people like Andrew Tate, and I'm not going to defend Andrew Tate. There's clearly things Andrew Tate's done that I think all of us probably could disagree with certain aspects. But one thing he stands up for is absolutely the side of saying this world needs masculine and feminine, and it needs people to stand up and be honest, and it needs people to challenge authority. And so how does governments get you as the people to stop challenging their authority? They belittle you from a cultural standpoint, and this is a furthering of that cultural movement.
Yeah, that was a good little micro sermon there, Tim. I appreciate that. Lifer, what's your elevator pitch to a woman who you think might be interested in Bitcoin? Like if you're just talking to a professional who's a woman who's interested in finance, like she's into money but doesn't understand Bitcoin, like how are you going to orange pill that person?
I don't want to be like, I always be careful how I speak on these types of topics, but I'd go to empowerment. And I talked to her about when women couldn't vote and then they got the chance to vote. What is voting? Voting is putting your energy and time into something you care about, right? Into showing the world what you stand for. When you decide to take your money out of the bank and you purchase Bitcoin and put it on a hardware wallet, you're voting. You are voting at that one moment in time. You know what I mean? You're voting for what you want this world to be. You're saying, I want to be my own bank. So I would go to women and say, as empowered as you were to get the right to vote, as empowered as we were all to be a united country and have all of our opinions be heard, men, women, right? And this kind of goes back to what Tim is saying, like, and what America really stood for in the first place. When you attack culture, then you can attach anything you want to that attack and say it's bad. I see it going on with the 15-minute cities and the green stuff, and they're going to say, well, Bitcoin mining. And then you've already seen that. And I saw a little bit of that, and that goes in with what he's saying. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but I'm only waiting for that. Bitcoin is, Michael Saylor does a great job of combating that. And then I always, every time they say that, I show washing machine industry waste more. I believe the paper industry, the lumber industry, and there's a plethora of other industries right now that are wasting more energy than Bitcoin. Need I say more? But I would talk about empowerment, to go back to the initial question. And thank you for the question. And thank you for having me here. I don't know if I thank you yet, but I'd say, empowerment. This empowers you. And I don't care if you're a man, woman, I would just try to let her see that, wow, women got, an edge when they were able to vote, and it changed things. Give more people the ability to be their own bank, take away from the centralized financial system. I'd also ask her about her parents, and I'd get into a little bit about where she came from. If she had working class parents, I'd say, your mom and dad, my parents, my mom was a school teacher. My dad was an iron worker. 10 years of their life, 3 years of that life was given away to taxes. Probably 4 of the 10 years, because inflation stole even more of their money. They were happy. They never looked at it like that. But that's why I got into crypto. I came from 2 hardworking Irish class, middle class neighborhood in Boston. I saw how hard my parents had worked. God rest my dad's soul. He passed away 3 months from today, May 1st. God rest his soul. He was a hardworking iron worker. He built the buildings that lawyers work in, medical facilities. People might have had heart transplants in buildings that my dad built, hundreds of feet in the air, risking his life. So when I saw my parents go through that, and I came from the hardworking class neighborhood I came from, that's what turned me into Bitcoin. That's why I started buying gold and silver. That's why I research fiat currency. And that's why I care so much. That's why I go live every day. That's why I never miss the show. That's why I'm so passionate. They're stealing our wealth from behind the scenes. And I would explain that to her. And if I didn't get her fired up in that 2 minutes in that elevator to go and grab her Satoshis, I don't know who would.
Well, you've planted the seed. Yes. Go Keeper.
I just want to say real quick, we've got to be a united front. Like, this is a topic that's coming up in the next, elections and whatnot. We have to come together, and we argue about so much. We argue about anything and everything except for real topics. So we have to come together and say, man, woman, gay, straight, young, old, whatever you are, Bitcoin does allow you to do, like the other guys are saying, like, be your own bank. And that's empowering in and of itself, no matter who you are.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a critical topic, and we've got to get the messaging right. And the message is not about left or right, whatever. It's about power. It's about control. It's about taking that back. So look, this was a crazy show. We've gone way over time, and that's what happens when the Nictator takes over. But Tim Warren, with his sermon at the very end, stole it from Keeper. Tim wins. Hey. That's how it is. Hit that like button on your way out. Appreciate it. Tim, tell us what we need to know.
Well, first of all, I cannot agree more with the other people on this panel. Go follow all of them. I've said this before, I'll say it again. Even if you don't watch all of the content they put out, anytime you see a crypto influencer go follow, like, and subscribe, because it tells YouTube that we are here to stay, that we want to educate people about crypto. So subscribe to Investing Bros, subscribe to Crypto Keeper, Debate Crypto, subscribe to Crypto Lifer, subscribe to Firoz Khan. Follow and support every crypto creator you can to fight the power.
Cool. Hey, I appreciate all of you taking time out of your day to watch our content. Please subscribe to this channel, subscribe to Around the Blockchain. We're here doing the work for you. Follow everyone here. Really appreciate you guys. Remember, we're all just spiritual beings having a human experience. Go outside, touch some grass. I'll see you at the top.